cleared annotations, but Pepsi was clearly winning when we left off. And that makes me happy because I like Pepsi. So Tara had told us how to annotate. So she said, like, hover over where the controls are. It might, like for me right now, it's at the top of my page, but for some of you, it will be at the bottom of your page. And then you hover over it and it will give you a toolbar, and it has like mute, stop share. And if you keep going along that toolbar to the right, it will have annotate. And if you click on that annotate, it will give you some options, and you can write text, you could draw, you could stamp, and then just click where or draw or whatever you like as to which one you like the best. Like I just put that heart there on the Pepsi. For those of you who missed it, I put this up here because it's been a topic of discussion at my house this week, or actually the last few weeks, because my kids, they've grown up on Pepsi, which sounds terrible, like I'm feeding them Pepsi, but it is what it is. So they've grown up on Pepsi, and they decided that they wanted to start drinking Coke, and I bought them a case of Coke, and they didn't drink it as much as they were drinking the Pepsi. And so I was like, clearly Pepsi is the better brand. So again, for those of you, we're going to be starting in a minute, but for those of you who are just joining, if you didn't join yesterday, we really are hopeful that you can participate in the chat. We are as you can see here on the right hand side, these are the items that we will be talking about. So if your questions are about that, you might want to hold off on them until we get through those sections. But we're also hoping though, if those questions, like you have questions still outstanding when we go through those, make sure you pause us and stop us to ask those questions. Tara is going to be on the chat. She's going to have the chat up full screen so that she can see everybody's text, and we'll make notes, or may say, oh, we're going to talk about that tomorrow, or she may pause us and say, hey, can you talk about this a little bit more, so that we can make sure that everybody's questions gets answered, because this is definitely your session and we want to go at the pace that is going to work best for you. So please be sure to stop us. So what do you think here? To me, it looks like Pepsi is the winner. What do you think, Sonia?
I agree. It looks like Pepsi's definitely got more annotations on it.
Okay, tomorrow we better come up with something that is inclusive of everybody, because apparently everybody does not drink Pepsi and Coke. Okay, I'm going to stop those annotations now, if that's okay, and I'm going to clear. And we are going to go to the next slide. And I'm actually going to not have the chat on at all today, Tara, just so that I can focus on the screen, because yesterday I had too many things on my screen, had to move them around when I was trying to do stuff. So I'm just not going to have it on at all.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, thanks, Tara, for manning that. Okay, so let's go to the session and get started. So this is new to Google Drive and Classroom, so welcome everybody. I know some people are joining us new today because what we were offering yesterday wasn't really fitted for them. So welcome, and we are really looking forward to getting right into Google Classroom today. Okay, so we're just going to take a minute to acknowledge the traditional territories of our First Nations communities. Oh, if I can press play. Let's see if this works. There we go. The sound will come on in a second.
We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered is part of the traditional territory of the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations.
I just love that little girl's voice. So sweet. Okay. Actually, while we're acknowledging here, I would like to, again, acknowledge all the healthcare workers who are doing so much for our communities right now. And we all definitely appreciate it that they're out there on the front lines helping us all out. Also, I thought we should acknowledge essential workers, because they are having to go to work, and like definitely it's a little bit scary time right now going out into the community. So thank you very much for making sure we have all those essential needs like garbage collection and groceries in our grocery store. So many people are working, and we appreciate that. Okay, so here's our presenters. If you weren't here yesterday, Tara Mitchell, she is on chat answering questions for you. She worked as an assistive tech teacher for 5 years, I think it was, Tara, and now she is a spec ed coordinator. So she is going to be helping us answer questions. And Sonia's here. She is going to be guiding us through this classroom step by step and how to make it as easy as possible for our students. And there's Tara's husband. You can see him in the background. Sonia is teaching at Indian Creek, and she was also an assistive tech teacher. So we have got like the best team to help you here. And there I am saying we got this, because I am so excited for you today, because I feel like you are going to learn so much about Google Classroom. And once, I know it's going to be like a lot of learning for you and you might feel overwhelmed, but you're going to be able to replay this video, and you're going to be able to just, once you get doing it, it will be easy. And then once you have it, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I think it's really great. So I'm excited for you. And remember, we are here to support you. We are going to answer those questions. Actually, I didn't have any emails or questions overnight, and I didn't see anything on the Padlet last night before I went to bed. I actually should have checked that this morning, but I didn't see any questions. Sonia, did you get any questions?
I didn't, which is hopefully a good thing. Hopefully
Yeah.
that means that we were clear enough, or people had an opportunity to go back and rewatch if they had questions, and they hopefully got them answered that way. Hopefully everyone's just ready to hop back in today and keep right on going.
Yeah. I do think it's a good sign that people are able to do what we practiced yesterday. Okay, so let's go to the next slide here. So yesterday, this is what we did. We focused on Drive. Today, we are going to create and share a class, make an announcement in the stream, which I think is a great tool for connecting your students. And we are also going to be creating an assignment and sharing these assignments with students. And then we'll have some question and answer, hopefully at the end. Hopefully we can get through it with enough time left. And Sonia's going to tell us about tomorrow's session.
So tomorrow we're going to just touch base on how we can view student work. So once the student has completed some work that we've shared out through Google Classroom, how can we see the work that they've done? And how can we give them some feedback? How can we tell them some, some next steps? How can we share that with them? And how do we give it back to them? How do we send it back once it's maybe marked or corrected and those kinds of things? And then again, answer any questions that you might still have that's outstanding.
Good. Let's see if I can go to the next slide. There we go. Okay, so this is today. Here we are at 11 o'clock here. We're new to Google Suite, and this is our second session. At 12:30, there will be the currently using Google Classroom Part B session. They are going to be talking about, and a little more in depth than we are, using the classwork tab, student assignment options. We're going to look at one student assignment options. They're going to look at many, giving students a template and sharing options and questions today. The last session here for Google Suites for frequent users who have been using it often in their classrooms. They are going to be talking about Google Slides and how to use those within Google Classroom. It says supercharged, so I don't know if they've got like Google Slides supercharged or if there's something else supercharged, but sounds exciting. And they're going to be talking about assistive reading tools and also translation tools. So if you are hearing some of this and you know what we're going to be focusing on today and it's not what you're looking for, you are more than welcome to leave. We're not going to be offended. Or if you hear something that you're going to want to hear in addition to, just know that that like we're going to be covering just learning how. So if you go and you see those and it's like, oh my goodness, remember to just focus back on what we learned today. That might expose you to some ideas, and then you can go and try them again and rewatch that video again later if you want. All the sessions are being recorded, and they are going to be on the site that I shared with you yesterday, which we will share again today. So go to as many as you like, or just join today. Like, you got to make sure you're doing what's best for you and not getting overwhelmed by all this information. Just beginning and starting with this is amazing. So we're excited that you're
Yeah.
here.
And today is going to be the heaviest day of our 3. So
Mhm.
if you're new to Google Classroom, my suggestion is, if you're new to Google Classroom, take the time to sort of absorb and build the foundation with these beginner sessions. And then if you've heard something from Sally that offered in the other sessions that tweaks your interest, get the foundation first, and then go back and watch the other sessions once you've got a good grasp on Google Classroom.
I completely agree, Sonia. When I learned to use Google Classroom, just the basics was like, oh my goodness, like this is so much, it's so new to me. Like I needed time to like work on that with my class, get familiar with it for actually probably months. Like I wasn't a quick learner maybe though, I don't know. It took me a while. It was all new to me. So, you know, like you said, like maybe just stay here and then go back later and then when you're ready for more. Yeah, it is going to be heavy today, but I think we got it. We're going to be able to do it. And then again, Seesaw is laid out very similar. They already had their new to Seesaw this morning at 12:30 today. It's going to be for current users of Seesaw and like not like frequent users though, right? So down here is the frequent users who's using constantly. Their kids already know it really well. It's a daily thing in their class. This is like, we use it once in a while. So let's see how we can make it even stronger. Is that good, Sonia?
Yeah, I think that's great, Sally.
Okay, so remember we went through these yesterday, every session did. So these are just some guidelines for you to support you in making decisions as you start facilitating learning from home for your students. These are also noted on the memo that was sent out yesterday. I don't know if it was sent out, but I know it's definitely on.
Sally, it was sent out. It's
There we
Ben
go.
here. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Memo number 20, because we want to provide some clarity around what this looks like, because we know that lots of people, part of the challenge is trying to understand what do we do right now. And this hopefully helps to try to clarify that so we can all rally together and support that process and support our students with the learning. So this was in the memo as well, Sally.
Yeah, and that memo can be found on the portal under the elementary page, and it's on the right-hand side. It would be memo number 20, right, Ben?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
memo number 20. I keep trying to mute so I don't interrupt you, Sally.
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to mute.
really, I really like that memo because it really gives some clear directions, gives some understanding to a bunch of questions that I had, and I'm sure teachers are having. So I think it's a really good memo. So you might want to have a peek at it if you haven't yet. But this information also is available on the site that we shared with you, the elementary educator resources, at the end of our slides yesterday, and we will also have that bit.ly and QR code for you again today. Okay, so this is what we are doing today. We are creating and using a Google Classroom. So first we're going to start off with just creating a Google Classroom where we're going to show you the class code, but we're going to show you another way that Sonia has of adding your students to the Google Classroom right here. And it is going to simplify things for your students. Sonia's got some great tips. We're going to talk about streaming and announcements and show you how to do that, and then look at creating some assignments and sharing them, and then finish off with questions and answers. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this and I am going to go to my Drive. So remember yesterday we said that to go to Drive, you type in drive.google.com or the Waffle apps over here. If you happen to already be in and you see that icon, you can just click it, or maybe the blue button to the right to sign in. So, and remember it's your first name dot last name at lkdsb.com. Okay, so then you get in here, this is your Drive, and we are going to just quickly show you what we did yesterday. Just as a really quick refresher so that in case, you might still have a question. So remember this button here, this is like, here we're adding a new binder, we're adding in a new piece of paper. So if we wanted to create a new folder, we just click new folder, And actually, this is good because I'm making a mistake already. So I'm going to add this science folder, but it is not going to be in the spot that I want it in. See, it's landed here. And remember, we made this file for this year. So I'm going to just click on it, hold it, and drag it over, and then let go, and it should go into there. See, it's disappeared. So if we go in there, it will be in there. Yep. So now we have an extra science. So if we have an extra science and we actually didn't want to name that, we can double click and we can rename. And maybe we would want a social studies folder. And remember, Sonia has her organizing tips that makes it easy for you to know where you're grabbing and for your students. So you double click on it, you can go to change color, and you can pick a color. I'm going to pick purple. Okay, so then once we have some work, or our folders, then we can go into those folders and add a file. Now, you can see I've got something hanging loose here, and Sonia's going to talk to us about that in a minute. But let's go into the math file, and let's add in a document. So we go to that magic button up there that just creates paper for us, and we're going to go down to the Google Doc. And new assignment, I'm going to type in here. And Tara showed us this yesterday, that awesome trick where all you have to do is hover, and there we go. That's the title. If that's the title you want it to be. If not, you can always go and click on it again. Just drag, click, and highlight and drag. Then you can change the name of that assignment.
And
Okay.
the reason why Tara shared this with you to do it that way is that if students are creating a new document and they go up and just click in the untitled document spot and they're going to title their new document, the read and write tools do not work there. They're not accessible there. So the students might spell it incorrectly or that kind of thing. If they start typing right in the doc, they can use the read and write tools later for all their spelling help. They can use their speech to text or talk and type to say the words, and it will come out there. And then this way they can just go back and click on the untitled document and the title pops right in there. So that's the reason why Tara was stressing that yesterday. A really nice feature.
Yeah, it is great. But I'm going to actually change this, and we are going to have a fraction question. So we are caught up to where we were yesterday. Do you agree, Sonia? Okay, so I'm going to change this title, and we're going to say fraction number 3. Okay, so what Sonia is going to walk us through is adding something into this that's going, because we had teachers asking about pictures and adding those things to docs. So Sonia's going to tell us how to do that.
Okay, so 2 things to keep in mind. Once you're in Google Classroom, once we get that up and going, you can share things like images, YouTube videos, other attachments in a separate format. You don't have to integrate it or embed it right into a Google document or whatever kind of format that you're using. But if you wish to put a picture or image, whatever you like, right into the document, you're going to go up to where it says Insert.
So we got some options here. It's
Yeah.
the 4th. Click it.
And then if it's an image that you're looking to embed in there, you're going to just hover over image, and it's going to ask you, where do you want to get it from? So where is that image at? Is it on your computer currently? Is it already in your Google Drive? Those are the things you have to think about before you embed it. So if it's in your computer, you're going to click on Upload from Computer. And then just like you would be looking for something on your computer, you're going to find where it's at on your computer. So right now, Sally's got hers in her photos section. So she's gone to her photos, and she's going to choose the photo that she'd like to embed. So by clicking on it, and then she's going to click Open.
So that's really simple. All we did was just insert, upload from computer, photos, click on what we want to insert, and press Open.
Yeah.
And there it
And
is.
once it's in there, you can click on it and it will bring up the selection outline. So you could resize the image if you like. You can format the image to where you want it to be. So see there, Sally has just sort of clicked on that. So now she can change the size of the image if she wishes. Okay. So it's as easy as that. We won't go too far into embedding things into our documents because the G2 is going to focus more on that. But if you do have other questions about that, we can definitely answer those for you. But it is fairly simple.
Yeah, and later, if they wish to learn more about all these features and fun things, they can watch the Google Classroom video from session 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to close this, and now we can see it's here, but the name for it's being a little bit slow. The name should come up in a second. And you can see here's some other examples I created last night, just so that we have some assignments in here for when we do some assigning today.
Yep. And always remember that refresh button is your best friend. So if something's not loading fast enough or updating fast enough, the little refresh button that looks like the little circle with an arrow to the top right of your, or top left of your screen, right now, yep. If you refresh, in case something's acting a little slow, that will usually get everything sort of, there you go.
Yeah, good.
So just remember that refresh button can be your best friend sometimes. Refresh. If it doesn't look right, refresh.
So we have just created a doc and it's in there. I'm going to go back to the beginning because last night you were showing me how to upload an image. Can you show everybody else how to just upload an image straight in here? And then we'll move these to the spots that we want them to go.
Right. So again, remember that the folders that you made are like binders in your desk or duotangs in your desk. So when you upload something into your Google Drive, depending on what is open is where that upload will go. So just like if I was saying, go take your science duotang out, we're going to put a new paper in there, you would go and open your science duotang or your science folder first so that we can put it in the proper spot. So right now, I think we're going to try just putting it loosely. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the new button again, just like we did when we were creating folders, but this time we're going to go to File Upload. Once clicking on File Upload, again, you're going to just look within your computer, so wherever you've saved the item that you wish to upload, and it can be anything, video, image, document, whatever the case may be, you can upload anything. So you choose what you'd like to upload. So
I always have, when I'm uploading here, I always go to recents because it's often a screenshot that I'm using. But we're not going to go there today because we're going to a photo. And we're back in those fractions images or some of them. These are things I've been using this week. So I thought, oh, we'll use those videos or those images. So I just got to click on the image.
Yeah, and then click Open. And because Sally has only opened up her 2020 folder, she hasn't gone to her specific folders, it's just sort of randomly placed there. So what can happen is once you accumulate a bunch of stuff there, it can get kind of crazy to watch and look through when you're trying to assign something to a student or trying to add it to something for a student in Google Classroom. We always want to make sure it's where we want it to be. So right now they're just floating. So to put them where they need to be, Sally can simply just click on them and drag them to the proper folder that she wants them to be in.
When you say floating, it reminds me of student desks. So I'm clicking it and I'm dragging it and I'm dropping it here.
Right.
There we go. It went. When I go in the student's desk, we were like, I don't know where my math is. Well, let's have a look.
Exactly.
So and drag.
And that's exactly what happens with their Google Drive as well. You know, they're like, I don't know where that is. I know I made it. And then you're asking the student, well, what did you call it? Well, hopefully they titled it, because if they didn't, it's lost in there under the hundreds of untitled documents that they've created. So always try to make sure that you put it into the proper folder so that you're organized and ready to go.
Okay, well, that was a quick, good review of what we learned yesterday and a couple new little tips there. Thank you. So I'm going to go back just to the beginning of my drive. And you told us 2 ways yesterday that we can get to Classroom.
Right.
One.
So, yep.
Yep, go ahead, Sonia.
So one way is obviously accessing that waffle. So besides the little LKDSB, We can click on the waffle, and Google Classroom is there as an option to get to Google Classroom. But the other way is, if you don't have Google Drive open already, you could just simply type in classroom.google.com.
Oh, look, and it came up from yesterday.
There you go. So
Yay.
very quick and easy. And you can see right now that Sally has 2 classrooms created in her Google Classroom. And we're going to show you how to start off and create a brand new one. So to create a brand new Google Classroom, you'll see a plus sign in the top right hand corner of your screen. We're going to simply click on that. And then we're going to say create class. So you're going to click on create class. Now we've been watching, and the class name is what you're going to see in Sally's background. You can see that she's got one named Mrs. Parkinson and one called grade 7 Mrs. Wilson. So this is what you want the students to see as your Google Classroom name. Okay, so that's what you're going to type in there.
Okay.
And then the section is the other part you can see on Sally's screen from her other classes as well, where the one says math. This is what you want the children to see. So they might have more than one Google Classroom that they're going to have access to. Maybe there's a prep teacher that teaches them music or something like that. You could be the homeroom teacher. So you want to make sure that you just give it a title. If you want to name it, your homeroom, if you want to name it music, whatever the case may be there. Put that in that spot. Yep, room 16, whatever you want to name it, that's what students are going to see. The subject space and the room are not visible to the student, so it's more for your personal preference there.
So then we just create.
Yeah.
So you know what this reminds me of? When we click on that plus, it just reminds me of Drive. It's like, oh, let's add another binder. So we're adding another classroom, another binder, another space to be organized and keep our classes organized, or whatever we might be doing. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So create, and it's creating, you can see. Okay.
So here you'll see that we have a brand new classroom, and this is what the inside of this classroom looks like. Now, if for some reason, just quickly, if you want to go back to a different classroom that you have, the little, I call them hamburger lines on the left-hand side there, you can click there and access all your other Google Classrooms. Okay, so at the top it says classes, and as well you'll also see them. So classes will bring you back to the last screen we were at. And then as well, click, yep, so you can click on the one you like there, or clicking on that little hamburger, you can choose your classes from there as well. Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing we want to look at, and this is just for the fun side again, on our classroom, you'll see that it sort of has a little theme, and right now the theme looks like graduation. You can change that picture to make it more suitable to your classroom by just simply selecting the theme button over at the right-hand side there. Once you click on select theme, you'll have some options. So at the top there, you can see you can have English or history option, math and science, arts, sports, or other. So for the music class, there's some good choices in there. Under the arts, there's ones I know there's a little violin, there's some sheet music with a tuning rod over there. That's cool. There's a guitar. So you can make it whatever you want by simply choosing it. And then at the bottom, select class theme. And that will change it for you. So there you go. It's all personalized. Make it a little interesting for your students. Okay.
Can we just pause for a second there, Sonia?
Yeah.
Tara, can you hear us? Just, is there anybody needing us to repeat anything at this point, or are we going in okay pace?
I think I'm fielding most questions kind of as we fly. If you could just do a really quick repeat of like pop into Google Classroom and the plus button to make a new class.
Okay.
Just a quick repeat.
That sounds
Sure.
good. So I'm going to
Thanks.
go right back to my Drive. And that was, see how easy that was? Just click on that waffle iron, go right back to Drive. Okay, so we're here in our Drive and we want to add a classroom. So let's go back to the waffle and look for the classroom icon. There's our classroom icon. And Sonia, you interrupt me if I'm going wrong, because this is like my test run here. Okay, so there's that magic plus button where we can create things. So I'm going to click on that plus button and I'm going to create a class. And I am going to call this, oh, let's call it Mr. Hazard. Wonder what, I don't even know what Ben taught. Okay, so I have no idea. Mr. Hazard's, he's got a classroom full of us right now. Okay, so we need to give it a section. So I think let's put art for Mr. Hazard and let's create it. So just clicking that create button. It's a little slow, takes a second. And now we're in his class. We can change the theme if we want by selecting theme and just picking one and pressing like create theme. Then we can go back to our classes and we can see everything here. We can also pick from over here on the side. So is that what they're looking for, Tara? Okay, so now let's go to Mrs. Do we want to, I'll let you take the lead there, Sonia. I don't know if we want to go into one that's already created or just look at one that.
Yeah, let's go to the one that you created for Mrs. Mitchell there.
Okay.
And we'll
So
just
see, we just
quickly,
clicked on it and it opens up.
yeah, so just a quick look at what's sort of involved in Google Classroom. So Google Classroom has what I would call 4 different pages that the students will see. So up at the top, you'll see that there's a stream page, a classwork page, a people page, and a grades page. So very, very quickly what these are, and then we'll go into detail with them, but very quickly, the stream page is the page that the students will see first when they open up their Google Classroom. It's a spot where you can share announcements, maybe pose a quick little question just to sort of open up and communicate with your students. In a normal classroom setting, I usually encourage the students to only respond to questions that are learning focused. So it's not just a spot just to, 1,000 highs in there. Right now is obviously a different situation. Right now, this is a perfect spot to build that community again with your students, a spot where they have a chance to just say hello and, say what's on their mind and build that communication with your students again. So Stream is a spot to do that. Classwork is a spot where we're going to take a look at a little bit further in just a bit, but it's a spot that we're going to share class materials, assign assignments or assign classwork, and organize that a little bit further too. So that's where your students are going to go to get the work that you're sharing with them. The grades page, I'm going to come back to the people one. The grades page is actually fairly new. And what it does is once you've had an opportunity to start returning work to students, if you've been giving them grades, it will give you a nice list of all the assignments that you've shared with the students and their grades. It also tells you when students didn't hand something in. So it will say missing. So you can have a very quick snapshot look at what's been assigned and who's completed what. Now the people,
that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
a neat feature that later maybe they'll start using.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that people button is where we're going to really focus right now. So under the people button, you can see that Sally is the one that owns this Google Classroom. So it's her classroom. She is the teacher. She does have the option to add teachers to that classroom if she wanted to. But if you're looking at this or listening today and you are a prep teacher, I would suggest creating your own Google Classroom, and you can have separate classrooms for the classes that you go in and teach. So for example, I teach 21 different classes of music. I don't use Google Classroom with all of them, but I can have, especially with the intermediates, a separate classroom for each of my intermediate classes. And we'll talk more about that later. Down below is the real important spot that we want to be looking at today. Here's where we're going to add our students. So sometimes, well, not sometimes, we do have the option when we're in the classroom with the students creating this, when we're actually in our physical classroom, we can give them a class code. which is on the front screen of Google Classroom. But what we're going to do, yep, it's right there too, Sally.
I'm just going to go back if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to class. So here's our classes, and we want to add students to Mrs. Mitchell's classroom. So
Yeah.
we go to Mrs. Mitchell, and then we go to people. The class code she's talking about is right here.
Yes. And so in the classroom, if we're in the physical classroom, we could get students logged into their Google account and then just tell them, here's the class code for Google Classroom, enter it, and they're in. We're in a different situation right now. So we're going to do it a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is under the people button, we're going to click on the little top part of a person there with the plus beside the word students. So we're going to click there. And this is why we suggested that you need the student names and password and the student numbers, because later we're going to send a letter home explaining how the students are going to get there. So here we're connecting the students to Google Classroom. Now, how do they get there? How do they open it? So we're going to send a letter home later. So right now we want to put the students that we want into this classroom, and it's as simple as starting to type their name. So if Sally starts to type my name, for example, there it is. So all she has to do is click my name. Now she can start typing in another name. So if she wants to
do it all at once,
you can do it all at once.
Yay. Okay.
Yeah. So she can start typing in Tara. And there's Tara. So she can add Tara to the class and so on. So she can put
let's add one more. I know Heather was here, so let's add Heather Young. There she is.
Okay.
Okay.
So remember, these are actually showing up as students. So although we're teachers, we're pretending to be students right now. So these are students that Sally is adding to her classroom. And once she's chosen all the students she wants to invite, she's simply going to click on the invite button down below. Okay. And then what's going to happen is those students are going to show up, and you'll see right now that they are sort of gray. They're not fully black yet. Once they accept being in Sally's classroom, then that's going to turn black. So at the moment, I've just sort of hopped out of the lesson here, and I'm just going to click that join button. So I've just gone over to that. And
I'm going to press that refresh button.
There we go. So you'll see that my name is turned black because I have logged into my Google account and I have clicked on join from the Google Classroom site. Okay. So because I've joined, I'm now black. I'm dark font there. So when those other students join, you'll see as they join, you'll be able to see all the students in there. So it's very easy to add the students. So Sally, can we just go back and remind them how to do that?
Yeah, for sure. So back from the beginning, classes.
Yeah.
Let's go to, well, I probably shouldn't be inviting people to a classroom that's titled Mr. Husband.
Well,
let's
you
go to
still
my
own it. You still own it, so it's okay, Sally. Okay, so again, in your classroom, you're going to go under the People tab, and you're going to go to the Add button there beside the word Students. And again, you can type in a child's name and click Invite. Okay.
And you can see here, we were testing this out yesterday, and Teresa and staff have both accepted. So once a student accepts, then they're able to see this classroom. Is that correct?
That's right, Sally.
Because here, Teresa posted, looks good.
That's right. So now that they've connected, this is an opportunity. So before you send out a message to the students on how to get there, how to connect, it's really important to maybe put something as a welcoming letter into your Google Classroom. So into your stream. So we're going to have a look here at our stream.
Okay, Sonia, can we pause for 1 second then?
Sure.
So are there any questions about adding students before we move on to the stream and announcements? We're good to go, Tara? I think we repeated it twice and okay. Okay, go for it, Sonia.
All right, so all we've done is gone back up to the stream tab. And on the stream tab, again, as I mentioned earlier, it's just sort of an announcement page. Okay, so this is a great page if you're a homeroom teacher and we're in the regular classroom setting and you can say, don't forget junior boys volleyball today, that kind of thing. It's a good reminder for them. But since we're in this different situation, this is a perfect opportunity for you to create a new announcement by simply clicking in where it says share something with your class. So if
It
you
reminds me of
that,
Facebook. It's like
yeah,
posting on your feed, basically,
yeah,
except for everybody has to see your feed.
that's right, that's right. So if we go
Okay.
ahead and click there, Sally.
Okay.
So within here, this is what's really neat. If you want to make this announcement and you're teaching more than one classroom, such as what I do with prep coverage and teaching several classes, I can choose there which classes I want to see this, and I don't have to go and create the same post in all my different classrooms. I can just check box the classes I want to see this message, and
That's
it will
amazing.
pop up, so then I don't have to keep doing it over and over. Okay?
Yeah. It's a
So
time saver.
it is. It's a great time saver. So once you've chosen those classrooms that you want this announcement to be seen with, you can
And we just watched.
also, yeah, you can also select which students. So maybe you're starting to work with small groups and you just want certain students to see this message. Maybe you have a certain group that's working on a specific activity and you just want to check in with them. This is a perfect spot to choose or select which students are going to see that. Again, you can just leave it so that all students see it, which would be really nice for your very first post. So if you're sharing with all students, you can just go ahead and type your message in here. You can share, you know, a nice little welcome message with your students, maybe check in, mention that you hope they're all doing well, kind of thing. And Sally, is there a way to scroll up a little bit? I just want people to be able to see. Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you. So once you're done typing your message, maybe you've created something else on the side that you want to share with them. Maybe you've created a little video of yourself. Maybe you've created a, you know, or you have a podcast or a YouTube video or something you want to share with them.
Which we do happen to have one here ready, Sonia.
Awesome. So what you're going to do is
Okay.
if it's a YouTube video that you're going to share with them, you're going to click on your other tab where your YouTube video is, and you're going to copy the link from the YouTube tab. Okay, and then
So
you're going
I
to go,
just press Command C there.
yeah, and then you're going to go back to your Google Classroom.
Oh,
One more over there.
sorry, the thing's in the way here now. So it's
Oh,
Mrs.
perfect.
Mitchell's room. There we go.
There we go. And
Okay.
in your announcement section, you'll see an add button, and it has that typical attachment look. And here you have the choices. Are you adding it from your Google Drive? Is it a link? Is it a file? Is it a YouTube video? So in this case, it's a YouTube video. So we're going to click on YouTube. And there we're just going to paste in the link. And we're going to click that search button. There it is. Now we're going to click on that.
Sorry, Sonia, I just want to say that this is the link from yesterday that was on the end of the slides, and it's for students to introduce them to Google Classroom. So it's in the slides from yesterday if anybody wants to go back and use it.
Oh,
Okay, so we click on that.
Yeah, it'd be a perfect thing to share with students. And then once you've clicked on it, it's selected, you're going to click the add button. Okay, so now you can see that we have an announcement created. We've shared a YouTube video with them. And once you have everything in there that you want, you're simply going to click on post, just like you would on Facebook. So down underneath the YouTube video part on the right-hand side, you'll see the post button.
Okay, I'm having a hard time with my printing. Okay, post.
Yeah.
It's the problem for me is that all these little things get in the way and then I have to move them over. Okay,
Right.
so we've made our post.
Made a post. Now the other really cool thing is when you're making a post or creating something in classwork, sharing an assignment, you have the option of scheduling it. So maybe you don't want it, you have time right now to create that, but you really don't want the kiddos to see it for a week. You can change what date that they see it. So that is really, really neat. So I'll show you that and I'll speak to that more in the classwork section. So that's how we use Stream. Is there any questions about Stream? Stream is just kind of like Facebook, like Sally was saying. Now that that post is up, as a student, and I'll see if I can hop out of here and hop in. As a student, I'm just going to see if I can write something. I can respond to Sally's post. So your students, once you've done this, so I can respond. Good. Okay. So I have just responded to that message. So it's kind of like a live time, almost like a Facebook sort of thing that you can interact on stream. So everyone is seeing that comment. So anyone that Sally has shared that post with is going to see that comment. And then they again can continue to respond. So just similar to Facebook. So it is just sort of an open discussion board type of feature there, the stream is. Okay.
Okay, so Sonia, we're at 11:44, so we're hoping to be done by 11:45. So I'm wondering if we do the classwork tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
We can do classwork tomorrow. Can we, Sally, maybe go to the page about sharing the student letter, the letter for parents?
Yes. So let me go back to present here. There is just a couple of things that we need to finish up here. So we just went through this. So we're going to start off tomorrow with creating an assignment and sharing then.
Mm-hmm.
And next slide. So remember, this was on the slides from yesterday. These are the people that can help you. And I did actually have somebody else, but they contacted me through text. So these we're here to help you. So again, just please go ahead and ask us anything. Here, Sonia, do you want to talk about the letter again?
Sure. So as I said, we've accessed our Google Classroom. We've created it. We've accessed it. So how do we get our kiddos to see it now? How do we get those students to connect to Google Classroom? So what I've done is I've shared a letter in there. So Sally's just sort of scrolling around it there. That letter is a note that you can copy and paste or edit however you wish. It's just sort of a blank template that you can send home with to parents either through Remind or Class Dojo or email or whatever type of communication you're using right now. You will need to include in that letter the student login, which will be their first name dot last name at lkdsb.com, and their password. Their password will be their student number. So that's why it was important to get that information yesterday. Sally, is there any way you can just open that letter really quickly?
Yeah, I love the letter. It lets us see. Actually, why don't I show them? So we'll copy this. So we copy that link, and then we are going to go to a new tab, and I just got to move that. Then close this. We will go to a new tab, and in the address bar, we're going to write that, and then all we gotta do is press enter, and it will bring us to that letter. And the letter is awesome because it's all set up. It really makes it very clear as to what needs to happen. And there's the spot that you're talking about there, Sonia, I think.
Right.
Their email will go in
Exactly.
here.
Yes.
Their password there.
Yes, exactly. So these are step-by-step instructions for the parent to help their child access Google Classroom. Or if you have an older student, they can follow these instructions themselves. So simply typing in classroom.google.com, just like we did. And then they're going to make sure that it's their account. In case an older sibling was using it, they're going to make sure it's their account. They're going to type in their email, first name dot last name at lkdsb.com. And then they're going to type in their student number as their password. Once they're inside, they're just going to click on join on the class that was created. Once they're in there, they can see everything that you've shared on your stream. So if you're going to play around in Google Classroom for a little bit first, maybe do that before you start passing out the passwords. Once you've passed that out and students can log on, they're going to see what you've got in there. So make sure you're ready to go and it's presentable for students before you send that out.
Okay. And then we have here a step-by-step, it's a link, somebody shared this. The amazing thing about Classroom, there's so many resources online for it. So this this link will just bring you, or this QR code will just bring you to something you can share with parents to help them be familiar with Classroom. This site is tips and tricks for Classroom, and it has tons of stuff that's been added on by teachers. So helpful. If you have any question, you can just put it in the search and it will likely come up, and so there's something there as a resource that you can go to. And then here, these are step-by-step instructions for you about what we went over today. We did not create these. These were already created. We just found them. We're sharing them with you. So those will help you as well. And don't forget the resources we shared yesterday. Those also have classrooms, like Google Classroom step-by-step in there as well. So those are there to help you. So where to next? We have got some things that we hope that you will try. So first, try adding your students to the classroom, getting that ready. Then we hope you'll try to create an announcement to start making the online connection with your students and get it all ready, just like Sonia described. So then perhaps you can start sharing. Once you have that ready, then you can start sharing those letters with the parents. Is that right, Sonia? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, exactly. So get it set up. If you want to create a cool video or find a YouTube, you know, pep me up video kind of thing to share with students or whatever it is, and get that stream going so that you can start sharing out the student login and password information with your parents so that they can start hopping on and getting connected with you.
Okay. And then this is the site that we've been referring to. It's that educator resources for remote learning that is housing all this information. We're sharing all the other sessions and also some information too on like timelines and subjects. So that is there for you. You can also access it through the blog that we have. This is the quickest way right here though. And so remember, if you have any questions, you can send them to this Padlet and we'll try our best to answer them tomorrow, or we might just respond right in the Padlet to answer the question for you. And then there's my email as well. And finally, if you have any feedback, it's definitely welcome. We would love it. And if you have any suggestions for things that you're finding would really be useful to you, you can give some feedback on that tiny URL there form. So thank you so much for joining us, and I really hope that this session was helpful for you, and that if you do have questions, please add them into the Padlet or into the side here today in the chat so that we can answer them. And thank you, Sonia and Tara. Tara, I'm sure you have been so busy. I can see that there's lots of chat happening. And Sonia, thank you so much. Your way of explaining everything is just so clear and just perfect for us to understand how to operate this Google Classroom. So thank you very much. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be finishing off with what we didn't finish today, so creating those assignments. And then we will also be looking at, once students have done some work, giving that work back and giving them some feedback.